Done too much scroll. Done too much scroll. Clay.
Yes.
We have to be very quiet now.
Yes, we have to use sign language, which I don't know.
It's sign language isn't going to really convey a podcast either. But I just need to let you know that if we speak above a whisper, my wife is going to come busting in. Oh
my God.
Move the microphone. It almost made a loud noise. My wife is going to come busting in and she's going to rip me apart. And she literally just told me that a couple of minutes ago. So please, let's keep the conversation to this level, okay?
I don't know, because my voice carries even when I'm trying to whisper. As you can see, I could be right next to you at Slayer or something. You could hear everything because I broadcast it right into your cerebral cortex.
Oh, it's a little bit like ASMR too. Whoa, you know
what? Oh, yeah. Oh, wrong podcast, everybody. Wrong podcast.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Cinematic Suffering. I am Jason.
I am Claire. Why are we speaking in a French accent? Unless we're going to talk about that French movie, The Under Paris, that everybody is just over the moon about.
No, we're not going to talk about that, but that shall be a discussion for another episode for sure.
Gotcha.
In this episode, we are going to discuss a little movie, a prequel, if you would like, called A Quiet Place, Day One.
Day One, yes. It's a very small film that's playing in every theater hour on the hour the past weekend, and we both caught it along with, I'm sure, millions of other people.
Yeah, I would say like the theater I went into, I actually got out of work yesterday around 4:15. I rushed home. This is 4:15 p.m. by the way.
Not a.m.
Not a.m. And I rushed home. I said, I'm going to the movies. I need to go see this film. My wife's like, have a good time. So I changed shirts, sprayed a little deodorant under the armpits, and then took off to the movie theater and got in right as the theatrical trailers were starting. So magnifique. I got there perfectly. Again, I'm slipping in the French accent. I apologize.
You couldn't have timed it better. I can't even recall what was in the theater beforehand. I think they showed Alien Romulus. That was one that stuck out. And a Smile 2, which, whatever, you know.
I don't know. I haven't seen Smile 1, but Smile 2 looks even more absurd than the theatrical trailer I saw for the first one. So
yeah, but we saw Quiet Place.
So before we jump into all that, have you seen? Obviously, you've seen the first Quiet Place that came out with John Krasinski starring, but he also helped write this one, the sequel, and the prequel here.
Yes, well, he helped write that one. He directed the first two movies, and Michael, who has got a very different, very similar name, actually.
Yeah, I saw that.
This whispery third installment was directed by Michael Sarnowski.
And Michael Sarnowski has quite a weird backlog of directorial credits. I mean, the one that I recognize is Pig, that starred Nicolas Cage, from 2021, and then he did I guess a TV series in 2012, another movie, a short movie called That, and then there's another TV series called Fight Night Legacy. So he doesn't have a lot of movies under his belt, but I was diverting just a little bit. I wanted to see how you came across the first one, the first Quiet Place.
It was just so in the zeitgeist. Everybody was kind of talking about it, or at least they were on social media. It seemed to have make a pretty big splash there. I saw it after a lot of the annoying clones had started to come out. I think in one movie you couldn't expel gas. Another one you had to speak backwards, and then in another one you had to put a blindfold on, which is about the dumbest shit that I've ever seen.
Yeah, that was Bird Box for sure. There's also the the one where the blind man owns a house, and these kids break in and they just get trapped in there, and he's blind, but he's managing to trap them and kill them all.
Don't Breathe. That was
Don't
Fede
Breathe.
Alvarez. Yeah,
which I enjoyed.
I like that one a lot. Yeah.
So yeah, A Quiet Place for me. I remember when it came out in the theaters. My wife actually went to go see it before I did. I think it was just one of those days she was bored. I was at work, and she, oh, I went and saw A Quiet Place. It was really good. You got to see it. And I'm like, okay, but I didn't see it until it came out in streaming. And when I saw it, I was like, wow, this is a really, really good movie. And I thought, John Krasinski. I've always liked John Krasinski. Of course, we know him from The Office, but his roles are like in Jack Ryan and his other little guest starring appearances have always been great. So I really enjoyed to see him dipping his toes into the horror genre and giving it his go.
Yeah, and I love that first movie too. The second one, I didn't hate it at all. It's for some reason it just didn't leave an impression like the first one did.
Yeah.
I guess he was kind of the heart and soul of that movie. He has such an amazing amount of charisma. His interaction with his deaf daughter was really classic. There were some really good moments in that movie. One part that stood out for me is when he's telling her, like, I'm trying my best to get you. What was he trying to do? He was trying to get her an ear or a hearing aid. He's struggling with the battery, and watching that moment of a struggling father wanting to give his daughter exactly what she needed and falling short was stuck with me.
Yeah, it had great character building and great characters all around that were just so in depth and that you just loved. And I guess I'll preface this with day one here. We may be jumping into spoiler territory. We can't guarantee that we're not going to reveal any spoilers. So if you haven't watched it, listener, viewer, beware. With that said, let's go ahead and jump into A Quiet Place day one.
Hell yeah, let's do it. Where's my notes? Oh, I'm panicking. Where's my notes? All right. So
like, I didn't know.
Does the cat die? That's the pressing question. Does it die? It gets messily eaten in the first 5
Right.
minutes,
Just you see this cat in the beginning, just gets ripped apart. You hear it shrieking, and it was horrible. No, there's I didn't know what to expect from day one. To be honest with you, I thought it was going to suffer from prequelitis that a lot of movies who try to go down this road suffer from. I thought as a standalone movie that doesn't really connect anyway with the first movie and the sequel, that it was really good. I came out of that theater thoroughly impressed and enjoyed what I witnessed and watched. And there were even some moments in this movie that caught me in the feels. I remember sitting in the theater just yesterday and feeling some tears kind of brim up, yeah.
It was great. Yeah, it was fantastic. Lupita Nyong'o she deserves her Oscar. She's such a good actor. I'm blanking on. I should really keep my notes open right here. It would be a great way. Joseph Quinn plays Eric, who's her sidekick, who we all know as Eddie from the Stranger Things show. And
I didn't realize that was him.
Yeah, he was okay. He was great, and he was great in that. He was really good in this. He was you kind of know it going into it. He's going to kind of be the sidekick. He's her he's her counterpoint. But right from the get-go, when they show you New York and we meet our lead character who's dying of terminal cancer or some terminal disease that we find out, and she's part of her hospice situation is that they have therapy animals, and that's where we meet Frodo the cat.
All right. And the thing about Frodo the cat is Frodo is another character in this story that you love and you get to be close to, and the whole time you're thinking, please don't kill this fucking cat. You want Frodo but Frodo takes on this persona of a familiar, like some kind of witchcraft familiar. It's this being that I say a being because he kind of feels not just like a simple cat, but he's leading the characters on. He's an integral piece into this story that it tells about the character, that reflects the characters themselves. It's a black and white cat. These are two characters that are physically black and white, but there's also personalities that are black, that are black and white too, and it blended beautifully. And that's again why I'm so surprised when I see the director only has these few credits under his belt, that he pulled this off with. I mean, no, I know he didn't write it, but he pulled off the visuals amazingly.
Yeah, and I mean, I think that I think he had the benefit of having some really strong actors to work with. Everybody, in front of the camera really knew what they were doing, especially, well, even the co-stars. You've got like some big recognizable faces as
Yeah.
just a lot of the extras in the movie. But yeah, the way it was paced, the way they let you know the characters, they introduce them in a way that's immediately you can relate to, you can
Yeah.
empathize with, and they didn't. They could have, done the whole terminal patient thing with too heavy a hand, and they
Yeah.
managed to avoid that too. It was really hard not to love this movie.
Yeah, and uh, I would say that there's a part in the beginning where you're seeing these characters interact with each other, and then the hospice situation that our lead actor is in. What did she play? What was her name? Samira.
Sam, yeah,
Sam. That it felt like that. Now I'm not an expert on hospice situations, not hostage situations, which I am an
yeah,
expert on.
neither. Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
plenty of those.
I mean, I've negotiated 100 of those. All of them failed, but when it comes to hospice situations, I, it felt like they're in kind of like prison mode. Like, no, you can't do this. You can't go get pizza in Harlem. And I was just thinking, well, wait a minute. She's dying of cancer. You think I'm a grown adult? I'm gonna die. I'm gonna go get my pizza, and I'll meet you back at the hospice.
Yeah,
It felt like, no, get on the bus. You're gonna go do this, and I was like, okay,
like, no,
that's
I'm gonna
odd.
go across the bridge. I'll get an Uber there. I don't like.
I got terminal cancer. I'm not disabled. I'm not bedridden. Just let
It's
me have.
funny you say that because I was kind of wondering the same thing for a second. It's like, why she kind of got this semi-confrontational relationship with the nurse, and they were kind of just showing us who she is. She's a little
Yeah,
bit grumpy. She's dying. I'm sure we all going to be pretty grumpy about that time.
yeah. I had no qualms with what her feelings were. I was just wondering why they felt they needed to restrict her from doing certain things. So it's like,
Yeah.
dude, she knows she's at the end. She can do anything she wants. She can smoke crack. She can have a huge round pizza and just shove it in her gullet at once. It's
I'm gonna actually choke. I'm gonna gag myself on this pizza while I take deep lung busters of rock
yeah.
cocaine.
And I
That's how I want to go out.
I think that was that motivation that we see in her, because it is such a dismal outlook for her, and that we
Yeah.
know that with the world is gone to shit immediately, and
Yeah.
it's like, well, what does she want to do now? She really has no place in this new world, because she knows she'll become a burden if she has to be taken in by anybody, that she will eventually just pass on. So I was left in that mental journey with her as she tried to pursue this
Yeah.
her goal of getting this last piece of pizza from her favorite pizza place in Harlem.
Yeah, and it was wild. Like in the very beginning, there were multiple opportunities for the cat to just be gone forever, and he finds his way back to his people, which was you you could forgive it. It didn't
There's
take you out of the movie, but
there's a little suspension of disbelief you have to throw in there about the cat. Obviously this cat is beyond a regular cat. They really established this is a cat that has smarts. It knows where it wants to go, and it's like I said, it's like a guiding force. So I was willing to accept that.
in my version of the movie, it would have gotten its tail bitten off by one of the creatures, and then you just see a scene where it's tying its own sutures and cutting the cord with its teeth, and then it fashions a crude bayonet to go to battle with the face smashers or
You
whatever.
see its paws come up with a red bandana, starts tying her on his ears. No, yeah. So there's another thing that I really that stood out to me after the entire movie was over. When you see what's happening at the beginning. So in I don't know if they explained it in the sequel about what these creatures are, where they come from. It doesn't really matter though.
No, if you're looking for some deep exploration of the plot, of not the plot, but of the like the lore of the movie, they don't
Yeah.
give it to you. It's almost and the movie unapologetically makes it secondary. But I do have theories, which we'll get into later. But I do have theories about what's going on with all that.
Okay. So yeah, definitely make a note of that, and we want to come back. So I was thinking, and again, I know I bust on the Terrifier films like crazy
every opportunity,
and my disgust of my disgust, my mehness when it comes to Art the Clown, where this is another situation where we know what these things are. Well, we know where they come from. It looks like an asteroid. It was almost like a War of the Worlds. These things are just coming out of the sky, barreling into the earth, and boom, out comes these alien beings who are just, I guess, hell-bent on destroying or wiping out the planet. Whether that's through any kind of intellectual instinct on their own, or maybe through some hive mind thing. We don't know that, but we do know where they come from, and what they're doing specifically is just killing anything that makes a sound. When you go to Art, you've got all these people running around. He's got no motivation. We don't know where he comes from. We don't know why he's exactly doing this. So to me, all the killing seems senseless. But in this movie, all the killing makes sense. So I want to try to make a point to compare every fucking movie I watched to Terrifier, by the way. So don't get too tired of it.
Yeah, I mean, it's and I don't think that they have any malice. They're just mean creatures. They just seem like completely feral, flesh shredding monsters. It'd be like if a lion had absolutely no smarts or empathy or even kind of self-awareness. It's just an eating machine. It's a kind of a shark on legs. Aesthetically, they don't do much for me, honestly, just because they look kind of cool, but they look very derivative too. It looks like they just took the Demogorgon's head and put it on the Cloverfield monster's body. So they got these long shanks, and they scuttle around in a way that's kind of scary, and that they're gonna eat your face. But
no, I agree. The look of them didn't really impress me. I was glad there was certain thing. There's a point in day one here where the mouth opens, and our Eric is like right next to the face, and you see the vocalization of the vocal cords, I guess, inside this thing, and it was really cool. Like the way they depicted it. It was dark enough and well lit enough that you knew it was CGI, but you knew it looked real enough. So it was really cool feature.
Yeah, it's like a micro shot of a vocal cord or something. Like, people, how they do those macro shots. It was much like the other two. It was a very human-centric movie. It was a story about what you do with your final days and who you protect. Like what's your goal if you know that you have a very short amount of time to get there. Like what would that do to you? Like what decisions would you make? So
there's also like a lot of there were several moral quandaries that they proposed to the audience. When you see they're all in the theater at the beginning, and our actor, what is his name? Henry Digimon Honsu, I think that's his name. They're all on the rooftops. They're watching the destruction of the city, and this guy comes up and he's just starts some, we're all gonna, and he's like yelling, and then Henry just places his hand over this guy's head, and he's like, shh, shh, like, be quiet, be quiet, be quiet. And I'm thinking there's nothing he can do. If he takes his hand off this guy, he's going to keep screaming. If he doesn't, he's probably going to accidentally kill the guy. And he's looking down, and Henry's son is looking up at him, watching the whole situation. And then he finally tells his son to get the, beat feet, because
you're about to see daddy kill a guy.
Yeah. Man. And I don't think he meant to kill the guy. I think he maybe just wanted to knock him out, maybe.
Yeah.
And then when he, you see him kill this guy, and the instant regret that comes over his face, and that trauma in itself, that's a moral quandary, because I don't know what I would do in a situation if someone was started yelling, and I don't know, maybe instinct would just be
I don't know. I mean, it's like you'd have to be like, look, this is going to have to shake out however it does, because I can't have. There was not only his kid, but everybody else's kid was at a puppet show. That thing's full of kids. It's I guess that dude's a hero if you like kids.
Yeah, yeah, and you think like there's another part where there's no power, and then all of a sudden the generator of the theater kicks on. Of course, it's making a lot of noise, and you're thinking, "Oh, good, they've got light and power now." But you don't want that because this generator is making so much noise, so you have to go shut it off, and of course, that leads to another death of a character.
Well, it's like it's hard for the geek in me to not criticize the aliens a little bit. It's like, okay, I know that's not the point of the film, that they're just a plot device, but it's like, all right, they have such good hearing, but they got zero olfactory senses. They'll be right next to a sweating, probably pooping himself and peeing himself a little bit human being that's just horrified and trying to not make any noise. It's like,
Yeah.
okay, so they no olfactory, no sight, which
Yeah.
I don't buy it. But also, like, if their hearing is that good, couldn't they pick up your heartbeat, the blood rushing around in the veins, or
the heavy
the wet
breathing,
poop that's coming out,
squirting out of your butt, just loud farts all over the place. Maybe that would be such a sensory overload because everyone in the city is just and their heads explode or something.
Yeah,
that'd be great.
And then the final scene is the occupying aliens just kicking corpses to the side of the road so they can set up the block party.
I think there is when I was thinking of the criticisms I had of it were when the military blew up the bridges, and I'm like, wait a minute, the aliens are all over the world. You're literally blowing up the bridges and trapping the people that are in the city, and that didn't make any sense to me. Now I understand they did it. They finally established that the aliens don't like water.
Yeah,
they can't cross running water or something like that, like they're vampires.
They drown. Why is water always the thing that undoes the alien bad guys in it?
Right. Yeah, exactly. What was it? Yeah, the M. Night Shyamalan too, right?
Oh yeah. That's
right. And V. Wasn't V like that?
I don't recall, which is dumb because they all look like lizards.
Yeah, let me look that up. I think let's see. Aliens in V hate water. Let's see. To be honest, that water hurts aliens. Ridiculous. Earth is okay. There. Okay, the visitors. Okay, so they intended to steal the world's water. Okay, well, it doesn't matter. Somehow it's corrosive, but
that new V show sure sucked. I know that's not what we're talking about. Man, what a piece of shit that was. I couldn't even get through the third episode of that, but we're talking about this other thing.
Yeah, so I mean, it was one of those things that kind of threw me for a loop because where am I on this screen? Am I still here? There you are. Okay. So it threw me for a loop because I was like, we know, especially from the globe that she's looking at, because we see like a radio forecast that's playing, and they see this globe, and they have all these locations all over the world taped, Los Angeles and Moscow and everywhere. And I was just like, well, now that the military's just trapped everybody in the city, and then they're telling everybody to get to the boats because the aliens are afraid of water. I was like, well, what about when you reach the other bank?
Yeah,
there's gonna be aliens there too. What's the use of blowing up the damn bridges? You just
and they communicate with everybody via helicopter with loudspeakers. Like, it's like, attention, we are about to firebomb the 5 boroughs. Please make peace with your creator.
That's basically what they were doing. It didn't make that didn't make any sense to me. But again, I suspended my disbelief. Just I was into it. The reason I could accept it was just because of the actors and the way they were performing. That okay, they're making this movie for me, even if some of the things didn't make too much sense.
The pacing of it had a nice kind of literary feel. Like that kind of flow is what you like in a novel that would be written by somebody that would write something like A Quiet Place, like kind of a mid-90s Stephen King knockoff that was actually pretty good at it.
Yeah, and it had some great highs and lows, and there were moments. I don't know what kind of theater. I saw it in one of these PTX theaters or whatever they call them, where it has the surround sound, and it sounds like someone's right behind you. And
I saw it at the Studio Grill, and I had lost my distance glasses
Oh no.
in an alcohol fueled incident, and very embarrassing. And so I knew that it was all going to be a little bit blurry to me, and yeah, so I saw it at blurry.
You saw you saw figures going back and forth.
It's not that bad, but it
Okay,
was, like
for a
I
movie
couldn't
that's
read
pretty
the
much
street signs.
yeah, I was about to say for a movie that's pretty much quiet with barely any dialogue, you kind of have to have those visuals to pull you in a little bit.
Oh no, I
Yeah,
saw
okay.
it. I could see it. I could see it well enough.
No, I made sure to have my far sight glasses on, but it was really cool that I loved hearing the voices from behind. Hey, and
Yeah.
I don't go to the theaters that much experience that. I did that with Furiosa just to get that experience, but with
I'd like to see it like you saw it though.
yeah,
That surround sound would have been cool.
yeah, it was really fun. And then when the aliens are on their stampede chasing those helicopters, and you feel the rumble in the theaters, like whoa, and it's like shaking you. It's like Jesus Christ, dude! It's like a herd of dinosaurs going by you.
Yeah, that's cool. I went to one movie that boasted the extra sound, and it about blew my eardrums.
Yeah.
Like I try to go back to the theater, and I see my girl in the hallway yelling at the or mouthing at the attendants, like it's too loud.
Yeah, we actually had to do that one time in some movie we saw. My partner was just like, "This is too loud. We're either going to leave or just going to have to tell them to turn it down." So I went and told them, "Hey, can you take it down a notch?" They go, "Oh, we're sorry," and they were very accommodating about it. So
Well, that's cool.
yeah,
They told us that we could go back sand.
hell shit. What?
When you meet like most people here in the service industry in Atlanta are either really nice or really opposite of nice. There's no middle ground. Some of them will be straight up rude to you.
Hey, can you turn it down a bit? Hey, could you shut the fuck up for a bit?
Yeah,
Kind of thing. Yeah.
there's a cashier that I can't interact with because she's just just savagely rude to me.
Well, the movie when like I said, watching this movie, it was a great experience. There were some really heartfelt moments throughout it. I think if you haven't seen it and you've heard it this far, we haven't there's some spoilers we revealed, but overall it's
No,
yeah.
it was good. It was one of those films that's mainstream and doing well, but it deserves people to be watching it. There weren't a lot of people in the theater when I saw it. It was definitely worth seeing.
Yeah.
So yeah, check it out. It's a heartfelt, cool movie. No real gore or genuine scares, and no deep exploration of the backstory. But that's not why you go. So.
But I think it was a deep exploration of the human spirit and will to live and will to die.
Yeah.
And your individual freedom and what you want to do with it and how you choose to use the rest of your time on the planet.
Yeah, I've been thinking about it since I saw it, which to me is a sign of a good film.
Yeah, for sure. So I would totally give this 5 hamburgers plus a cheese fry.
Yeah, a generous pile of eyeballs, something like that.
Yeah, that's our rating system, by the way. It's
it's
flawless. It's numerically superior to any thumbs up or thumbs down. A lot of science went into it, numbers crunched, and so this is what we came up with.
Yeah, it's a good back pocket full of grapes, this film.
Well, Clay, I guess that's about it for this wonderful movie, A Quiet Place, day 1. I wonder if we're going to get a day 2 and a day 3. They've really set it up to go in and do that.
They're doing a third one.
Okay, cool.
A third direct sequel to the second movie.
Okay, cool. So I'll be very much looking forward. Do you know if the same director is attached, or?
I think it's the first guy. I think it's the original guy who's directing that one. He wanted a break from, directing, and so that's what we got. And it's
John Krasinski.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Oh, cool. Or Michael, was it? I didn't keep it in my notes. You guys can Google. You got this.
Yeah, we were. I don't know about you, but I took a one of those 3-ring binders, and I had my lined notebook, and I was just writing in the theater the entire time.
Yeah, I had a moleskin notebook with a very bright flashlight. I bought seats right next to other people when the whole theater was empty.
Yeah, yeah. I love to do that too. And did you have your customary headlamp on? Because I
I
had
did,
mine.
yeah. I had
Yeah,
my miner's
yeah.
hat
The miner's hat.
in full effect.
Guys, I guess that's about it. Thank you so much for joining us here on Cinematic Suffering. And until our next movie review reveal, we will talk at you guys later.
Take care, y'all. Peace.
Bye.